say, okay, he's a little better. He say, but don't ever put no white dude on me because that is disrespectful. I was like, okay. Now, I don't know how America going to feel about that.
They'll be all right.
Larry Bird would probably beat LeBron 1-on-1.
Really?
You know, Bird tough to defend. Why? Because he looks slow as shit to me. So like, I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean?
Larry Bird didn't just leave a mark on the NBA. He left a crater from the moment he stepped onto a basketball court. His impact was undeniable. Even in college, he was such a force that the Boston Celtics drafted him before he had even committed to the NBA. And when he finally arrived, he was an MVP-caliber superstar right out of the gate, instantly transforming the Celtics into a powerhouse and leading them on. Deep playoff runs year after year. Bird's career was defined by legendary battles against the greatest players of the 1980s, carving his name into the history books with each rivalry. But his influence didn't stop when he hung up his sneakers. He thrived as both a head coach and an executive, becoming the only person in NBA history to win MVP as a player, coach of the year, and executive of the year. His fingerprints are everywhere in the game's history. For over 3 decades, NBA legends have shared stories about Larry Bird, tales that sound almost mythical, with a nickname like Larry Legend. It's no surprise that his legacy feels larger than life, but don't just take my word for it. Let's hear what the greatest players of all time have to say, starting with none other than Michael Jordan. When discussing the greatest of all time, one name inevitably comes up first: Michael Jordan. For many fans, Jordan was their introduction to the NBA, as he single-handedly revolutionized the league's popularity in the 1990s. But even the greatest have predecessors, and before Jordan could dominate, he had to battle through the legends who came before him. There's a reason Jordan ruled the Nines, but struggled to make deep playoff runs in the 80s. Larry Bird and the Boston Celtics stood in his way. Despite already being an elite talent, Jordan repeatedly ran into Bird Celtics in the Eastern Conference, suffering back-to-back first-or playoff exits at their hands. Even Bird himself acknowledged Jordan's greatness early on, but at that stage, experience and a superior team kept him from breaking through. Jordan was known for rarely giving praise to his rivals, but when it came to Larry Bird, his admiration showed in different ways.
You get angry at sometimes.
Everybody does. I mean, it's a common thing. If you had 273 professional athletes here, a professional basketball player, and you say who's the dirtiest player in the NBA, you know, I say 95%. I say
Jordan's interactions
Larry
with Larry Bird often
Bird.
carried a bittersweet tone: frustration from losing to him on the court, but deep respect for his greatness off the court. He was more cordial, even inviting Bird to rounds of golf, perhaps one of the few places he could actually beat him at times. Though Jordan's frustration was more apparent, he didn't shy away from calling out Bird's physical and relentless style of play, even labeling him as dirty at times.
If Larry Bird played in this era, I think he'd be in Europe. So I'm just letting you know, man. Really, you know, like I said, I'm just saying he'd be somewhere over there. Because, you know, I think his game was fit for Boston at that time in the 80s and stuff like that. You know, but today's world, oh hell no.
Jordan's comment is interesting, considering very few players have ever accused Larry Bird of being dirty. Maybe Bird took a more aggressive approach specifically to gain an edge over Jordan, or perhaps Jordan was simply exaggerating to justify his struggles against him. On the other hand, Jordan's former teammate Dennis Rodman had a very different take on Bird. Rodman once claimed that Bird wouldn't succeed in today's NBA, even suggesting he'd be better suited for European basketball. The intent behind Rodman's statement remains unclear, leaving many to wonder exactly what he meant.
Hey man, you can't put no white dude on me.
Hey, bro.
That is straight disrespect, right? He said, don't put no white dude on me. So check this out. So the next year we come back, I said, I got somebody for your ass, right?
Yeah.
He said, who you got? I said, Rodman. He said, okay, he's a little better. He said, but don't ever put no white dude on me because that is disrespect.
May have held some lingering frustration toward Bird, as the two had their fair share of intense battles on the court, often assigned to guard Bird. Rodman experienced firsthand how relentless he was, scoring with ease and backing it up with constant trash talk. During this era, Rodman's teammate Isaiah Thomas shared an interesting story about Bird's competitive mindset. According to Thomas, Bird once took offense when the Pistons assigned a white defender to guard him, as white players at the time were often unfairly stereotyped as less athletic. Bird made it clear that wouldn't be enough to slow him down, which ultimately led Detroit to put Rodman on him as a more physical defensive matchup.
Glad that we came in together because I had somebody to measure myself to, right, and say, hey, okay, he's great. I can't let him get too far ahead of me. I got to work hard because I want to stay in
How was you guys' relationship? How would you describe your relationship? Obviously, you beat him in the NCAA, the finals in '79. But how was your relationship once you got to the NBA? Because I think the thing was, he was Rookie of the Year. I think you got like 1 or 2 votes.
That's all.
He was a relentless trash talker, but what made him unique was his ability to make it humorous, his confidence, and what often made even his opponents laugh, like the irony of him complaining about white defenders when he himself was white. Bird's race was also a notable part of his superstardom, largely because of his iconic rivalry with Magic Johnson. The NBA leaned into their contrasting backgrounds, using their differ to fuel one of the greatest rivalries in sports history. In many ways, it's impossible to talk about Bird without mentioning Magic. Despite their years of fierce competition, Magic Johnson has nothing but the highest praise for Bird today. Looking back, he appreciates their rivalry, recognizing that it pushed him to become a better player from the very beginning. Magic always felt like he was chasing Bird's level, a challenge that defined both of their legendary careers, and
Probably beat LeBron 1-on-1.
Really? Larry Bird would beat LeBron James one-on-one. Ooh.
Because one-on-one, it takes away from everything LeBron has, right? His physical strength, his speed, right? And, you know, all that power he has going. Well, in one-on-one, you're talking about 1-2 dribbles. That's not his
corners. And
that's not his game.
yeah.
That's
The year race between Larry Bird and Magic Johnson wasn't even close. Bird won in a landslide. Even decades later, Magic admits that loss still stings, but instead of dwelling on it, he used it as motivation to reach Bird's level of greatness. As for how Bird's game would translate to today's NBA, many believe his skills would still hold up well. In fact, Gilbert Arenas has even stated that he would pick Bird to beat LeBron James in a one-on-one matchup, a testament to Bird's legendary skill set. Larry Bird would probably beat.
I always consider myself a confident player, but, you know, Larry was an entirely different level. I mean, there's so many stories I have about just him taking games over, and, you know, we coach you call a play, and like, he's not running the play. Like, it's just, okay, he's just going to take it and score. Like, but he just had so much belief in himself, and he could get a shot, you know, with double teams at the end of games. Like, teams knew what we were running, and he'd still get a quality look.
On Larry Bird, his former teammate Danny offers valuable insight. Having witnessed Bird's greatness up close, Danny recalls one thing above all: his unshakable confidence. Bird believed in his abilities so much that he would toy with defenders, telling them exactly what he was about to do, then doing it anyway. No matter how they tried to adjust, they simply couldn't stop him. The brilliance of Larry Bird's game went beyond the obvious, and many casual viewers may not fully appreciate the small details that made him so dominant. Even Kobe Bryant, a relentless student of the game, initially struggled to understand what made Bird so difficult to defend. Curious Kobe went straight to the source, asking Lakers legends from the Showtime era what made Bird so special. From an outsider's perspective, Bird didn't appear particularly fast or athletic, yet he was an unstoppable offensive force. There had to be more to his game than met the...
To defend why? Because you look slow as shit to me. So like, I'm missing something. So like, tell me what I'm missing. You know what I mean? And so I would always ask questions and try to learn as much as I could. Right? No? I was a different generation. You guys probably never even seen Larry Bird play. How many have seen Larry Bird play?
Hey, everybody's seen Larry Bird play.
That's not a high enough percentage. We got
Larry Bird's game. Kobe Bryant became one of his biggest advocates, urging more people to watch and appreciate his greatness. Through his own research and conversations with NBA legends, Kobe gained a deeper understanding of what made Bird so special. He believed the younger generation should follow that same path, learning from the legends of the past to truly understand the game. One of those legends is Byron Scott, who battled Bird in multiple NBA finals as part of the Showtime Lakers. Scott shared a story about Bird's legendary mind games and trash talk delivered with an almost unsettling calmness. Bird wouldn't just talk trash, he would tell defenders exactly how he was going to score, daring them to stop him, then doing it anyway. No matter how well they adjusted, he still found a way to dominate.
Larry would just, and he would say it in such a calm way that you didn't think it was trash talking, but it's trash talking. You're not going to tell me you're going to go over there and shoot the ball in my face. That's trash talking. But he would tell you before the play even started. You just come out and say, you know, guys, you ain't got to worry. This is where the ball going. I'm going to catch it over here. And he would tell you to play and catch it over there and shoot.
Incredibly frustrating. Imagine doing everything right as a defender, anticipating the play, rotating correctly, and working as a team, yet still being powerless to stop him. It had to be demoralizing, especially for Byron Scott and the Showtime Lakers, who faced Bird multiple times on the NBA's biggest stage. But while his opponents endured the frustration, Bird's teammates got a front row seat to the show, often leading to dominant victories. Bill Walton recalls what He considers Bird's greatest game, which came in the NBA Finals against the Houston Rockets. On that night, Bird stepped out of his usual calm and collected demeanor to fire up his teammates in the locker room. They needed a win, and Walton could sense something different about Bird that day.
Greatest game that he ever played, and it was spectacular because in a game of a lot of winners of the genetic lottery. I mean, you had Akeem, you had Ralph, who were just brilliant, just getting started in their careers. You had Kevin McHale, you had the Chief, and here was Larry. Larry got every rebound. Larry made every steal. He made every pass. He just literally did everything and made the rest of the world seem inconsequential. Larry Bird, the greatest player I ever played.
He perfectly illustrates what sets Larry Bird apart from other NBA greats. His game wasn't just about skill, it was his intangibles, his relentless drive, and his unmatched basketball IQ that made him a true winner. Bill Walton often spoke about players who won the genetic lottery, the biggest, strongest, and most athletic stars in the NBA. He played alongside and against physical giants like Ralph Sampson, a 74 phenom built similarly to Victor Wanyama and Heike Ojen, who alongside Sampson formed Houston's feared Twin Towers. Even on his own Celtics team, Kevin McHale had one of the longest wingspans in NBA history at 8 feet, and they still had two more 7'10" centers in the rotation, yet somehow it was Bird, labeled as unathletic, who led the Celtics in rebounding. His elite basketball IQ, laser focus, and relentless hustle made him a force all over the court in that pivotal NBA Finals game.